Most of you have probably used a global state manager with React at some point in time, but not many of you will probably know how these work under the hood. So let's try to create a really basic one right now. Alright, so to get started, we're first of all going to need to create a function right here that's called item. It's going to be really similar to an atom in Jotai, only that items can't interact with each other, atoms can. And it's going to take in an initial value. That's basically going to be used to set our value, basically our internal state of this item at the start. And now we just need functions, a get, a set, and a subscribe. But for the subscribe to work, we of course need to persist who subscribed. So we're going to create a const subscribers, and that's going to be a new set. And we're going to use a set because a set it doesn't allow duplicates. So now let's just add the sub method. So const sub will take in a callback. So basically a function that will get to run whenever our value changes. And of course, this callback will need to be added to our subscribers. So subscribers.add this callback. And to allow cleaning up after us, we're also going to return a function that will run subscribers.delete this callback. Then next up comes the getter function, which is really simple as well. We're just going to return our value inside of an arrow function. And lastly, the setter, which is really cool as well, will take in a new value, and it will do two things. First of all, it will take in our value and set it to the new value. And next up, it will need to inform all of our subscribers that the value changed. So subscribers.forEach, and for each subscriber, we get the callback, and then we just call it with this new value. So basically, we tell each subscriber, hey, the value changed. Do whatever you want to do with this value inside of your callback. And now we can just return all of these things in one object. So get, set, and sub, and use it already. So if we wanted to, we could of course now go ahead and say const my item equals item, and we initialize it as 0. But right now we can't really use it inside of React, which is a bummer. So let's create a little function for that. So function use item, which will take in an item and do some React logic inside. Value and set value is of course going to be a use state, and the initial value of the use state is going to use item.get. So basically, as soon as this use state is initialized, its initial value will be the current value of our item. And now we can move on by defining what we want to return from this thing. So normally in a use state, you just return value and set value. Here we're also going to return value for our reactiveness to work, but we're going to return item.set instead of set value. Because if we only changed this set value, then our item would of course not change and we didn't globalize anything. But if we return item.set, then now our item changes, but our state doesn't. So for that, we're going to need a use effect. And that use effect is basically just going to use our subscribe. So it's going to be a use effect with no dependencies. And it's going to say item.sub. And what it's going to do is just going to say, I want to get a value and then set my value to this new value, like this. And we're of course also going to clean up after us by saying const unsub is equal to the return type of this. And then our use effect is of course going to just run unsub whenever it unmounts. So basically, when we mount this use item, we're going to subscribe and always keep our value up to date with this set value right here. And when this command unmounts, we're going to delete our subscription just for everything to be a bit cleaned up and to be able to be garbage collected. And now we can just go down here to our app, replace this use state with the use item and pass my item in here. And now if we were to check this out, then we should see that our count is now just as easily increasable. And if we created a second count right here that also uses this global item by calling it count2 and set count2, and then displaying it inside something like an h1 count2, then we should now see that these are always in sync, which they are. So we now successfully globalized our state. And if we wanted to, we could even use this item outside of React. So something like myitem.sub will of course also work right outside the React context in whatever other component you wanted. So we could now do something like value console.log value. If we now tried this out inside of our browser and opened the console, then we can see every change to our state is logged right away, which is just awesome. So as you can see, creating a custom global state manager isn't that magical after all. It only takes a few lines and you already have something fully working. Sure, it doesn't take in something like a callback in a setter or whatever. All of this would need to be implemented separately. But still, this is the basic concept that basically all state managers need to use under the hood. Sure, there are some custom hooks that React offers to make all of this simpler, But then again, these will also just use a pub sub pattern like we're doing right here. But of course, this isn't really production ready. If you want something that's production ready, then maybe check out this video where I'll show you how to use zustand with React, which is a really awesome global state manager that you could use as an alternative to Redux, which I really like. So let's check it out.